Deep inside a nuclear supercarrier, Navy chefs battle 115-degree heat to bake exactly 2,500 tactical pizzas for 5,000 sailors every single day. This high-stakes logistical mission is a psychological backbone preventing a catastrophic morale collapse across the strike group. How do these chefs stockpile, mass produce, and execute this massive operation while violently pitching in a hostile ocean? Let's dive into the blistering, highly classified combat reality of the Navy's culinary specialists. Right at this very second, somewhere in the unforgiving expanse of the highly volatile Indo-Pacific theater, the USS Gerald R. Ford CVN-78, a highly advanced, heavily armored, 100,000-ton nuclear-powered naval supercarrier, cuts violently through dark ocean waters. It is the ultimate sovereign American military strike platform. Yet, beneath the deafening roar of supersonic F-35 C Lightning II jet engines, a completely different, high-stakes logistical miracle is currently unfolding. We are talking about the flawless daily preparation and baking of exactly 2,500 perfectly crafted pizzas for a crew of 5,000 sailors. Why pizza in the grueling, highly demanding, high-stress environment of a naval combat deployment? A pizza is far more than mere sustenance. It functions as a vital strategic psychological weapon. For an 18-year-old aviation boatswain's mate, working punishing 14-hour shifts on a treacherous flight deck, a hotly cheesy slice represents a powerful, comforting taste of home. It instantly boosts morale, shatters the mental monotony of isolation, and fiercely reinforces the fighting spirit. In modern naval doctrine, logistics fundamentally dictate the absolute pace of any prolonged engagement. An unfed or heavily demoralized warfighter is undoubtedly a highly vulnerable warfighter. To execute this monumental daily task, the massive steel belly of CVN-78 houses an awe-inspiring labyrinth of deep storage facilities loaded with staggering physical parameters. Producing 2,500 pizzas every single day requires an astronomical volume of raw materials. The supply department must meticulously load, securely store, and rigidly track exactly 1,500 pounds of high gluten flour. They require over 800 pounds of premium mozzarella cheese, 300 pounds of sliced pepperoni, and roughly 200 gallons of heavily spiced crushed tomatoes daily. Every single ounce is strictly calculated using highly advanced naval logistics software. The walk-in freezers and dry storage compartments are packed absolutely to the brim when the ship first leaves port. This creates an intense, claustrophobic operational challenge for the culinary specialist petty officers. Imagine standing inside a sub-zero freezer, completely surrounded by a towering mountain of tightly secured cardboard boxes with practically zero floor space available. The climax of this logistical ballet hits when the culinary staff must physically crawl over massive allowances of frozen inventory. They fiercely toss heavy bulk ingredients to the freezer entrance, synchronizing their rapid, exhausting movements to the violent shuddering of the ship's powerful nuclear propulsion systems. They rely on detailed, highly accurate storage diagrams permanently bolted to the heavy steel freezer doors. These critical maps ensure the cooks can rapidly navigate the frozen maze without wasting a single precious second. It can take up to 8 full weeks of heavy consumption before enough boxes are finally cleared to grant normal walking passage inside the storage bays. Every single ingredient must be preserved perfectly. The massive cold storage rooms are brilliantly designed to maintain enormous quantities of highly perishable consumables at absolutely optimal temperatures. Failure is never an option for these dedicated crews. How do these dedicated logistical heroes manage this impossible storage standard without ever losing a single crucial ingredient to spoilage? Could you maintain such absolute precision while completely isolated in the middle of a hostile ocean? The meticulous organization of the ship's internal holds guarantees the mighty American war machine never stops pushing forward. But eventually, even the most deeply packed freezers on a supercarrier will inevitably begin to run dangerously low. This presents an entirely new, terrifyingly complex maritime logistical challenge for the deeply dedicated, high-ranking command staff. How exactly do you restock thousands of pounds of pizza ingredients onto a moving nuclear fortress while actively deployed at sea? The answer is a highly classified, brilliantly executed ballet of nautical engineering known as underway replenishment, or UNREP. This is not a simple grocery delivery. It is one of the most perilous, complex, and flawlessly orchestrated maritime maneuvers the United States Navy executes to project uninterrupted global power. Picture this intense scenario. Deep within the hostile swells of the Philippine Sea, the USS Gerald R. Ford refuses to decelerate. The 100,000-ton Sovereign strike platform aggressively cuts through the water at a sustained speed exceeding 15 knots. Simultaneously, a heavily loaded supply-class fast combat support ship, the USNS Supply, pulls aggressively alongside. The physical gap between these two colossal steel behemoths narrows to a terrifyingly thin margin of exactly 150 feet. In the heavy displacement naval world, this distance is virtually microscopic. A momentary lapse in helm control or a violent gust of cyclonic wind could instantly trigger the deadly Venturi effect. This hydrodynamic phenomenon creates a massive suction force, threatening to slam the hulls together in a catastrophic collision. Yet, the highly decorated commanding officers execute this maneuver with icy precision. Why risk a multi-billion-dollar asset and thousands of American lives because the strategic mission dictates absolute readiness? Those 2,500 pizzas represent critical combat morale, and the supply lines simply must physically flow. Once the vessels achieve perfect kinetic synchronization, the true logistical masterclass firmly begins. Operations are decisively split into two synchronized disciplines: connected replenishment and vertical replenishment, commonly known as VERTREP, for highly perishable pizza ingredients. VERTREP is an absolute visual spectacle. Twin-engine MH-60S Seahawk helicopters aggressively launch from the supply ship's heavy flight deck. They hover precariously over massive cargo nets, violently whipping the ocean surface with their powerful rotor wash. These secured nets securely hold thousands of pounds of densely packed premium mozzarella cheese and critical high-gluten flour. The deafening roar of the aviation turbines completely dominates the airspace. Can you manually imagine the sheer adrenaline of standing on a wet, violently pitching flight deck while a helicopter forcefully drops a 3,000-pound pallet of frozen dough mere feet from your helmeted head? Each precision drop takes mere minutes. Over the course of a punishing 7 to 10 day cycle, the Supercarrier actively absorbs roughly 400,000 to 1 million pounds of critical supplies. The very second a pallet forcefully impacts the steel deck, hundreds of mobilized sailors aggressively swarm the payload. They instantly form massive, highly coordinated human logistics networks known as daisy chains, sweating profusely inside brightly colored life vests. These dedicated warfighters rapidly pass heavy boxes of crushed tomatoes hand by hand down tight stairwells. Every single second is deeply critical. Culinary specialist second-class petty officers bark precise orders, strictly scanning barcodes with ruggedized military hardware. They must absolutely ensure the frozen pepperoni quickly reaches the sub-zero holds before the punishing Pacific sun aggressively compromises the strict food safety integrity. The absolute climax of this oceanic supply chain is the terrifying prospect of an unexpected emergency breakaway. During an active UNREP, the massive supercarrier is practically highly vulnerable. If advanced Aegis radar operators suddenly detect a hostile, deep-water submarine acoustic signature, everything instantly violently stops. Alarms violently scream across the ship's internal 1MC public address system. Explosive bolts fiercely detonate, instantly severing the heavy tension rigs holding the two massive ships physically together. The giant carrier aggressively banks hard, violently pushing its powerful A-1B nuclear reactors to absolute flank speed. Tons of food, suspended completely mid-air, might legitimately be sacrificed directly to the turbulent deep ocean. But in a flawless operation, the American logistical supremacy always firmly prevails. This magnificent, Highly coordinated resupply capability allows the USS Gerald R. Ford to operate continuously for grueling months without ever physically touching a friendly port. It flawlessly sustains the human engine of the ultimate war machine. This awe-inspiring, high-risk operational maritime ballet is exactly what practically guarantees the daily culinary victory. It legitimately takes unmatched maritime discipline, immense personal bravery, and brilliant logistical doctrine to successfully transfer tons of premium pizza ingredients entirely across a highly turbulent ocean. But successfully hoarding these heavily guarded, critical supplies inside the deep, freezing bowels of the immense ship is truthfully only half the battle. Transforming those raw, frozen pallets into exactly 2,500 perfectly baked, morale-boosting tactical pizzas introduces an entirely new, agonizingly complex physical trial. How do these severely exhausted naval cooks actively execute this massive culinary production line inside a violently pitching, highly claustrophobic steel galley? The fiery reality will blow your mind. Deep within the incredibly thick, heavily reinforced HY 100 high-yield steel bulkheads of CVN 78 lies the primary enlisted galley. It is a highly pressurized, fiercely hot, and deeply chaotic culinary battle space. Ambient temperatures near the massive Mark 104 industrial convection ovens routinely spike past 115 degrees Fahrenheit. The deafening, mechanical roar of heavy industrial ventilation fans constantly battles the intense radiated heat. Here, a highly specialized tactical platoon of 50 culinary specialists heavily executes the uncompromising daily pizza mandate. They fiercely operate under a strictly enforced, utterly unforgiving combat timeline. The relentlessly aggressive hunger of 5,000 active sailors never pauses. They forcefully command massive, high-torque, 80-quart Hobart planetary mixers permanently bolted to the non-skid titanium-laced deck. These heavy-duty industrial machines aggressively churn exactly 1,500 pounds of highly hydrated, premium high-gluten flour. Precision is absolute survival here. Every single fluid ounce of highly purified reverse osmosis water and precisely measured gram of dry active yeast is strictly calibrated. If ambient humidity shifts by just 5%, the biological fermentation process violently derails. The dedicated culinary specialists forcefully knead the incredibly dense mixture. They expertly hand-form exactly 2,500 perfectly uniform, 8-ounce dough balls. They heavily utilize massive, highly specialized Crest core, humidity-controlled proofing cabinets to forcefully accelerate critical yeast activation. The physical assembly line is an absolute masterclass in high-velocity tactical efficiency. Culinary specialist second-class operators stand tightly, shoulder to shoulder. They aggressively stretch the proofed dough across heavy-gauge 18 by 26-inch commercial baking sheets. They utilize massive aluminum ladles to rapidly distribute precisely 250 gallons of heavily spiced, low-moisture tomato sauce. Next comes the tactical deployment of the dairy payload. They aggressively blanket the stretched dough with a massive barrage of 800 pounds of thick mozzarella cheese and precisely 300 pounds of densely packed pepperoni. Have you ever tried to flawlessly cook a highly intricate, massive meal while physically riding a violently shaking, nuclear-powered steel roller coaster? That is the exact grueling, highly volatile reality these extremely brave sailors face daily. The absolute climax of this blazing kitchen assault inevitably occurs during intense maritime combat maneuvers. Suddenly, the massive 100,000-ton Supercarrier heavily banks a terrifying 30 degrees to port during a rapid tactical evasion drill. The entire stainless steel galley violently, aggressively tilts. Heavy metal pans fiercely crash against the unyielding bulkheads. Two entire rolling racks, holding over 500 pounds of raw, highly prepped pizza, aggressively slide dangerously toward the hot, unforgiving steel deck. A catastrophic food loss at this exact moment means a highly dangerous morale collapse for the incoming night shift aviators. Instantly, the fiercely trained, highly disciplined galley crew physically leaps into highly coordinated action. They violently throw their entire body weight against the heavy aluminum framing. They aggressively brace their heavy, slip-resistant tactical boots against the violently pitching grated floor. They violently catch the heavily sliding baking racks with their powerful, calloused hands, muscles screaming under the intense kinetic force. They brilliantly save the critical morale payload through sheer, brute physical strength, and deeply ingrained military discipline. The heavy, insulated steel doors of the roaring Mark 104 ovens are rapidly, forcefully slammed shut. Inside, exactly 500 degrees of violently circulating, superheated air instantly attacks the raw, vulnerable dough. In exactly 12 highly monitored, deeply stressful minutes, the pristine pizzas flawlessly emerge. They are absolutely perfectly golden, fiercely bubbling, and aggressively fragrant. The intense psychological impact of this specific culinary strike is completely immeasurable. The heavy stainless steel serving lines are immediately flooded with severely exhausted, deeply grimy American warfighters. 18-year-old aviation ordnance men, fiercely covered in highly flammable JP5 jet fuel and dark mechanical grease, finally break into wide, genuinely relieved smiles. For exactly 15 glorious, highly protected minutes, the deafening chaos of the lethal flight deck is totally forgotten. They heavily consume the intensely steaming slices. They rapidly refuel their deeply exhausted bodies and violently recharge their unbreakable warrior spirit. This perfectly executed, highly organized culinary strike forcefully proves that superior internal logistics directly wins major global conflicts. Every single perfectly baked crust represents a massive tactical victory against intense operational combat fatigue. The United States military establishment completely understands this calculated psychological equation. Can you accurately measure the exact combat value of a fiercely happy, perfectly fed naval aviator? The massive general messes effortlessly handle these thousands of fiercely hungry sailors with incredible efficiency, clearing the tables in mere minutes. But consuming 2,500 pizzas instantly generates a terrifying, highly classified, tactical nightmare. How do you make thousands of pounds of highly visible daily garbage completely vanish without leaving a deadly but traceable breadcrumb trail for hostile attack submarines? Deep within the lowest, darkest decks of the Supercarrier, far below the pristine flight deck, exists a highly classified, brutal industrial zone. The absolute consumption of those pizzas inevitably produces an astronomical volume of operational refuse. We are talking about exactly 3,000 heavy cardboard flour sacks, 500 massive tin tomato cans, and endless mountains of thick plastic cheese wrappers. A crew of 5,000 sailors actively generates a staggering 15,000 pounds of raw physical garbage every single day. You cannot simply throw this massive footprint overboard. In modern naval doctrine, a floating trail of domestic trash is a catastrophic tactical error. A heavily armed, exceptionally quiet hostile attack submarine can easily track a careless surface vessel simply by following its floating debris field. Therefore, the Supercarrier must operate as a completely independent, aggressive recycling metropolis. The dedicated engineering waste management sailors forcefully operate heavily armored plastics waste processors. They violently shovel thousands of contaminated wrappers into massive, superheated melting chambers. The intense ambient heat is absolutely suffocating. It heavily rivals the scorching temperatures of the main culinary galley, frequently hitting 120 degrees. These powerful machines violently melt and aggressively compress the bulky plastic waste at a massive ratio. They produce dense, heavily sanitized, large solid plastic discs. These heavy, sterile plastic pucks are meticulously stacked and securely stored deep within the hull. They stay there until the massive ship safely reaches a friendly port. But what exactly happens to the immense mountain of organic food waste and heavy pizza cardboard? They are fed directly into massive, industrial consolidated waste pulpers. These huge, fiercely loud machines act like giant, terrifying metallic stomachs. They violently crush, aggressively shred, and heavily liquefy the biodegradable materials using exactly thousands of gallons of highly pressurized seawater. once heavily pulverized into a completely unrecognizable slurry, it is safely discharged beneath the ocean surface. This heavily calculated disposal method completely masks the ship's physical presence. But what happens when the machines fail? Imagine the ship operating under strict emissions control, actively hunting an enemy vessel. Suddenly, a massive metal tomato can jams the primary pulper. Toxic, rotting waste begins backing up inside the claustrophobic compartment. The stench is absolutely unbearable. The fiercely trained engineers cannot simply dump the raw trash. They must physically climb inside the massive, terrifying metallic jaws of the disabled pulper. They aggressively rip the jammed steel apart with heavy crowbars, utilizing sheer, brute physical strength. One slip means losing an arm. They flawlessly clear the jam in 7 agonizing minutes, instantly restoring the ship's stealth capability. Have you ever considered the sheer bravery required to manually process raw trash inside a violently pitching, dangerous steel box? This brings us to the ultimate, profound reality of modern global naval warfare. We glorify the supersonic fighter jets and heavily armored nuclear reactors. But sophisticated hardware does not fight major wars. Fiercely dedicated human beings do. The true unsung heroes of this floating fortress are the brilliant culinary warriors and the fiercely disciplined waste management crews. They wear highly stained overalls and heavy reinforced work boots. They work punishing, brutal extended shifts in aggressively hot, highly dangerous, deeply unsanitary environments. They practically never see the bright sun. They flawlessly execute a highly complex, fiercely demanding logistics matrix. This completely protects the health, stealth, and morale of the entire American fleet. Without their relentless daily sacrifice, the mighty Supercarrier instantly ceases to function. They literally physically sustain the ultimate sovereign shield of our global freedom. Every single managed waste cycle and baked pizza is a tactical victory. If this deep dive changed how you view military operations, aggressively hit that subscribe button right now. Smash the like icon to support the channel. Drop a comment below honoring our brave logistics crews. I will see you on the next tactical breakdown.